Hello class, this is Dr. Ogilvy, and this video is going to focus on the lectures and the quizzes in each module. So for the lectures, you click on course modules, and then as long as you have fulfilled all these requirements, 5, 6, and 7 here, mark the course check-in page review, taken the syllabus schedule resources quiz, and taken the 2 sample quizzes A and B and got a perfect score, then you will see the folders down here. Now, I want to just, first of all, visit the overview of the lectures. We did that so that you could get an idea of all the lectures in the course. So you can go right to the end of the course and click on the PDF and see the slides and the narrated text that we enunciate in each of the narrated lectures. So this is to give you a good idea of what you are going to be dealing with. There is no narration, and it's important, though, that you do view the lectures and listen to them to get the pronunciation and little innuendos. And I refer you to the syllabus about what previous students have said in the course that helped them make a good grade. And read that carefully, and you will realize that they not only view the lectures, listen to them, but they have the PDF there and make notes and pause and go back and forth in the lecture. And I can't emphasize enough that you should view the lectures and study several times and review before the module quizzes. So now I want to also emphasize the learning outcomes. Here you can get a good idea of what you're expected to learn for each of the combination lectures and labs, okay? And I meant to put here also a lab exercise. So these are the common combined learning outcomes for lecture and lab for Module 1. Okay, and then the next thing I want to emphasize is the on the activity page. That is the table that we put here, where you can see how many minutes it will take you to go through each of the lectures. And each of these tables here are actually included also in the course schedule of assignments that you can access over here on the syllabus and schedule. So pay close attention to this and give yourself an idea of the amount of time you have to invest. And there's plenty of time for once through these lectures early in each module period, and plenty of time to be able to review. So the next thing I want to do is open up the lecture folder, which is down here, Module 1 Lectures. So each one of these has a PDF of the lecture. It's really pretty much the same as in the folder of the overview of all the lectures in the course, but you can also rely on these PDFs to be the latest version if we make any corrections or revisions or something like that. So if you want to make sure that you have the latest one, always download this one and just go with the lecture. Now for example, let's take the epithelial tissue lecture. So when you open it and you have Adobe Flash installed and you've got your sound turned up, you should be able to see and hear the lecture.
This lecture will present the histology.
Now, as you go through the lecture,
tissues that cover body surfaces,
you
can tract,
pause it, and I'm
vessels, and
going to enlarge this so you can see that the notes are right here. And I'm going to pause this so you don't hear the voice in the background. And so if you go to the relevant resources, the learning outcomes for the lecture are repeated here, and the vocabulary. But at the end of each of these lectures, there is a quiz. And as you proceed through the quiz, you must answer every question correctly. You have unlimited attempts here, but you must answer the question correctly if you want to proceed. For example, this, identify the epithelium. Well, down here is the connective tissue. This is the border between the connective tissue and the epithelium. This is an epithelium emitting layer, so it's stratified. And at the surface, you can still see nuclei here, and they're flat. So this is stratified squamous epithelium. And it's actually non-keratinized. One thing you're learning is how to distinguish between an added layer of dead cells full of keratin and the absence of that layer, which would be non-keratinizing stratified squamous epithelium. So the best answer here is stratified squamous. And if you submit that, then it's correct. You can go to the next one. So that's about all I wanted to comment on the lecture folder, except for to remind you that we've instructed you that these quizzes do not earn any credit towards your grade. They're simply for self-assessment at the end of the lecture. So now let's go back to the module folder and get down to the flowchart for the identification of tissues, where you have a PDF that you can download of the decisions that you can make if you look at a tissue. For example, does the tissue have a free surface? Is there a continuous sheet of cells which is bounded by other cell tissue on only one side? And if you say, no, this is not epithelium, and so you will continue to be down here on the next page. If you say, yes, this is epithelial tissue, and then these are the questions you should ask to identify the various types of epithelium. Okay, so enough of that. I just wanted to bring that to your attention and to also comment that the same, this is complements the scheme that you will find in Unit 2 of the Histology Laboratory Exercises, which is the lab manual for the course. So next I want to comment on the graded practice quiz. It's important that you read this information about the quiz very carefully. And in the quiz, I'm going to point out something. I'm going to actually bring the quiz up in my edit mode so that I can point out a couple things. Because in this quiz, we have tried to include images. We have included images from WebMike, but they're all type and answer except for one is multiple choice. You won't have as many of those in part A of the module quizzes as you have here. We're trying to give you exposure to a more difficult, so perhaps your other module quiz will be more reasonable and you'll be able to do well on it. So let's just open this up. And when you get into it, all at the very beginning, most of the quiz are composed of text questions, matching, multiple choice, etc., etc. When you get down toward the latter part of the quiz, then you will see images here. And so this is asking you a question about the border between the epithelium and the connective tissue. And actually the answer is basement membrane. I'm just going to give you that right now. And you're going to type that in. Now, if you type in something like, you may say basement membrane between the epithelium and connective tissue, and we find that someone typed that in, that's a correct answer, and we can add it to the list. But right now, that's all we have added in this. And this is the way we handle all of the module quizzes and midterm and final. Whenever you type in an answer, we can see a list of every answer every student types in. We go through that carefully, and we spot any correct answers that we can accept, and then we regrade everybody's. So you're going to need to use the word list that we've given you, and then you can get help in typing in the correct answer. As we have pointed out in the course, we do not accept any misgrading. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the so then the last item in the module folder is always a link to the Module 1 graded quiz. And so when you arrive there, you're actually at the graded quizzes and exams, and you can find the module quizzes in the same place. Now, the module quizzes, they're going to count roughly 35 points for Part A and 20 points for Part B. So that's 55 points. Your graded practice quiz counts for up to 20 points for each module. So basically, if you add 55 and 20, that's 75. And if you multiply 75 times 5, that's 375 points out of 1,000. So you can earn 37.5% of the points toward your grade by just being diligent and doing well in each module period, which means starting the study early so you can review and review and review. So it's pretty self-explanatory here in the module quizzes. I just wanted to visit this and emphasize that once you take Part A logged in directly into Blackboard, you have to open up BioLucida and go to the cloud you've set up for taking quizzes and exams, log into Blackboard, then come back here and find the module quiz and take it. And I've demonstrated that in another video in the course, so I'm not going to go back through that. Okay, so that pretty much ends this video. The second video is going to focus on the lab resources and the relationship between WebMic and the lab manual and BioLucida lab collections in your BioLucida lab cloud access.